Well, welcome to the debrief here on the Blood Red channel. Liverpool seeing off Manchester City, winning by 3-1 to win their first FA Community Shield under Jurgen Klopp. And hey, Darwin Nunez looks all right as well. I'm Guy Clarke, alongside me, Pat Smith. Pat, well, Darwin, delight at the end for Liverpool. How great was that?
I mean, what a performance, to be honest, Guy. That really has stamped down our mark for the season. Before the game, all the talk was, it's Man City's title to lose. Thinking the words of Sam Matterface, the signing of Erling Haaland, it's Man City's title to lose now. Well, this is a massive spanner in the works for them, and Liverpool looked absolutely brilliant, Guy. The classic 4-3-3, I thought Firmino starting was absolutely superb. Someone who's sort of been under the radar. There's lots of talk of him potential transfer away. But for me, Firmino was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, the boys all around. Andy Robertson, I thought, had a brilliant game. But we've got to move on to Darwin Nunez, haven't we? Because he is the main man of the day and just absolutely phenomenal from him today, Guy.
Yeah, Warrior getting involved in the chat. Nunez, Mowbray here saying, nice way to start the season. Gabe, Nunez better than Haaland. I mean, what a way to introduce yourself. Of course, there were people talking in pre-season that he wasn't doing all so well, but when it really matters, he came on, looked razor sharp straight from the off, could well have had a penalty, but continued to just apply himself and really give that City back line a run around and fully deserved his goal.
That's what really impressed me, Guy. Obviously the goal output, phenomenal from him. He scored those 4 goals against Leipzig, got one today, but it's the work off the ball, the runs in behind, the chasing defenders, because the way City play out from the back, it's not easy to play against them. He's tenacious, didn't give them any time on the ball. They looked flustered, which is so un-Man City-like. It's just an example of how good Haaland was today. But, it's kind of clear to see that City perhaps weren't quite as prepared as Liverpool for this game. I think they're still a little bit rusty. But then I think part of that was just that we were so brilliant. Liverpool are ready to go for the season. We were fit, we were firing. The same team pretty much played the whole 90, pressing the back line. But Nunez, wow. It's such a small sample of just half an hour. What is this guy going to do when he plays 90 minutes for us in the league? It could be pretty frightening for other teams, Guy, couldn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Fabio Carvalho as well, involved in the build-up to the third goal as well. He was on for even shorter amount of time, but looked lively equally all the same. John getting in touch says, great as always, beating City, especially when the silverware on the line. Well done to the lads. You'll never walk alone. I mean, friendly or a game for a trophy, a final. What's your stance on the FA Community Shield, Pat? I mean, at the end of the day, I think when it's City who Liverpool play, it's more a barometer of where Liverpool are at in terms of their rivals. And today, much like in the FA Cup semi-final, too hot to handle.
I mean, look, it's one of them ones, when you win it, it's brilliant to get the first silver of the season. When you lose it, you call it a glorified friendly. I think, whichever happens in the result is the spectrum that you take on that one. But, I mean, beating Man City is always massive, beating them at the start of the season as well, even more massive for us. And the way we beat them today, guys, is so convincing, I know they did that performance in the XG. I have to thank Adrian for a couple of big saves, but from my perspective, I think Liverpool absolutely dominated them, midfield, across the back, across the front line. We looked sharper. We looked so much better than them. And I really think this title race, isn't as in much as Man City's favour as everyone seems to think so early in the season, Guy.
Yeah, no, definitely. Magic saying, good start. And here, Klopp's won every trophy he could. He certainly has done, bar perhaps the Europa League with Liverpool. He reached the final in that, didn't he? But domestically,
I believe so.
It's a domestic clean sweep for him. And KKB there, great result. Had we not won the Community Shield before under Klopp? No, it is a first for him in the Community Shield. He spoke about it before the game, actually saying that he wanted to get his hands on it to complete a domestic clean sweep. That is what he certainly has done. Pat, what have we learnt then from that game? You said there, if you lose, it's a glorified friendly, but actually it was a real good run out for Liverpool. What have we learned, do you think?
But I mean, the main thing I've said, that we've learned is that Liverpool are ready for the season. I think that's the most important thing we can say from this. We look absolutely ready to start the Premier League at Fulham next week, get 3 points under our belt, and we look, as impressive as we did last season in our peak. I think the main thing is that City don't look as sharp as we did. I'm not sure exactly the details of their pre-season, but I think City are going to have a lot of adjusting to do because they've obviously got Erling Haaland. They've now got a striker, and it's strange because they seem to not know how to play with a striker. There's so many times where you've got Kyle Walker, Cancelo having the ball at deep, Haaland making a run in behind, and they don't see the run. They don't play the ball in there. Whereas for Liverpool, it's so natural. We've got Robertson, Trent, even Milner when he came on was pretty decent at finding Nunez in behind, banging that ball in the space. City haven't done that since Sergio Aguero left. Last season they would get the ball like Walker's doing it today. There's a chance to play behind, turns inside, plays it into midfield to keep possession. That's the way they play, and that's not going to play into Haaland's favour. So they really need to start learning how to play with Haaland, and that is going to take them time, and it showed today. And that's the main thing that I'm going to take from this, is that comparatively from Liverpool and City in this title race, I don't think City are going to start as strongly as Liverpool will in the Prem this season, which could play into Liverpool's favour if we could open up even a marginal, few point gap at the start of the season, which is likely off the basis of today's performances. I don't think City are looking too favourable in those early fixtures. So hopefully Liverpool can get a little gap at the start of the season and then take things from there and hopefully push for another quadruple.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. You're on the same wavelength as Jill there. Back at the quadruple, guys. Let's dream. But it's back on. Suppose it well and truly is, actually. If Liverpool do, I mean, they've already got one in the bag technically.
Already got one in the bag, yeah.
According to the Pep Guardiola school of thought, the Community Shield is one that he likes to count anyway. In terms of the narrative, it's going to be dominated, of course, by Darwin Nunez and Erling Haaland, of course, the two big money centre forwards at play. But as Samuel says here, man of the match is Mohamed Salah. There was I suppose, a little known guy wearing the number 11 for Liverpool today. He didn't play half bad.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. There's that first initial chance he had when he just took Cancelo inside, took him outside. That classic Salah move. We know probably should have scored it, hit the side net, unfortunately. But yeah, throughout the game, Salah again, just so good. You had Cancelo and Grealish both having to track back on him. I think Grealish, we pretty much because he spent most of the game double man marking Salah with Cancelo. That just shows how good he is and how important it is that he signed that contract, because he's going to be absolutely massive once again this season. There's always talk of the back end of last season. Yeah, he played, 50, 60 odd games. It's a ridiculous schedule for him. Also, the disappointment and mental fatigue with Egypt. Heartbreaking loss in AFCON, heartbreaking loss in the World Cup qualification. It's going to take its toll on him. And of course, Liverpool's season took its toll on every player pretty much. None more so than Salah, because we rely so much upon him. And now this season, we've got Nunez in, we've got Carvalho who can play on the right, Elliott's looking fit and sharp again. When we can rest Salah, we will rest Salah, and that'll hopefully give him the rest that he needs. Because I think that was the main problem towards the back end of last season. He just lacked that rest because there's so much fatigue. But it's just so important. He on his day like today, he is the best player in the world, in my opinion, currently. Because Messi, Ronaldo, a little bit past it now. I'm going to say it, and I think if Mohamed Salah can keep up his prime form this season, then he could be destined for that Ballon d'Or, maybe not this year, but the year after.
Yeah, no, we'll have to wait and see. Claire saying for her, man of the match was Thiago. She says City will get better, but a fair reflection of where we're at. And I reckon well played, the Reds. It was certainly a good performance for Liverpool. And I suppose more than anything, Pat, just whets the appetite now for the season to get underway. Of course, Fulham to come next weekend. There is going to be a behind closed doors friendly against Aston Villa the following day, because Jurgen Klopp even more feels there's fine tuning to come of this Liverpool side. But off the back of a performance like that, the manner, even though City got it back to 1-1, Liverpool really were the dominant side in the game.
Yeah, absolutely dominated. I think, especially in the middle of the park. It's a great shot from Claire there. Thiago, just absolute prime Thiago today. Some sauce in the middle of the park, turning players left, right, and centre, winning the ball back as well so many times. Pickpocketing Rodri and Bernardo Silva. I think they really, really struggled against him today. He looks probably the fittest I've seen him at Liverpool so far as well, Thiago. I think he's putting a bit of muscle in pre-season as well. He's looking a lot stronger, a lot bulkier in the challenges, which is another string to his bow, which is ridiculous enough already. But the main narrative though with Nunez and Haaland. Haaland perhaps didn't have his best day today. That miss at the end, that can't be great for his confidence. I'm sure he's a lad with a lot of confidence under his belt, and the goals will come for him. But days like today and misses like those, won't help his confidence. There's the chances in the first half as well. He perhaps was, it was pretty well defended from Van Dijk and Robertson to put Haaland off, get to sort of snatch at the shot. But there's one where he went with his foot and he should have, buried it with his head, to be honest. Nunez buried his chance with his head. Haaland sort of dilly-dallied and flicked it on, I think it's going to take a lot of time, but it certainly, as you said, whets the appetite for the season. And I think everyone's fantasy Premier League teams are going to take a lot of adjusting after this game as well. I think we're going to see a lot of transfers in for Darwin Nunez.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Well over 200 of you on the live stream with us. Drop a like on the video and keep the comments coming. We are still going to get into more of the game. And Pat, I suppose we've got 10 minutes in and we've not even spoke about Trent's opener.
Well, yeah, what a strike. Took a slight deflection from Ake, but Trent was given so much space. As I was mentioning earlier, how impressive Salah was. I think Cancelo basically forced Grealish to double man marking with him, which gave Trent so much space, which is never a good idea to do that. And took his chance superbly. What a strike. It was destined to go in anyway. The slight deflection, I don't think impacted the strike too much. Ederson would have had no chance of stopping that one. And this could be another big season for Trent. That assist record, is there for the taking for him. I think this could be the year, the way we're attacking well, the way we played today against Man City, let's say against Fulham, hopefully we can rack a few goals up against them. And I think Trent could really challenge this assist tally. And, I think as well, he'll look to secure his place in the England team at the World Cup because he'll be absolutely massive for England if they have any shot at going for that. I mean, it's mind-boggling that Trent isn't selected every time anyway. But I think this could be another massive season for Trent as well.
Yeah, no, most definitely. The best, say, Matip was awesome, was very awesome. I mean, he was picked ahead of Canate, of course, in the Champions League final. It was the other way around, but he certainly played a proper Joel Matip performance, I suppose is the best way to put it. Talking of defence and kind of at the back, I know Liverpool did concede and that they did check VAR for a possible foul on Adrian in the build-up to it, whether he had control of the ball. But have to say, even with the goal conceded, added in there, I thought Adrian performed really well, given he is Liverpool's third choice goalkeeper. He's had to play a large part of pre-season due to injuries to Alisson and Caoimhin Kelleher. But if Liverpool do have to go into the season with Adrian between the sticks against Fulham, I have to say I would kind of feel assured within that, albeit the expectation is Alisson will be back.
Yeah. I memean, he's done brilliant today, Adrian. Called upon when needed. He's barely played for us at all this season. He's come in, done a job for us. City's XG today was 3 point something, and they've only scored one, so that shows that he stopped a few goals. City's goal that went in, it was a bit of a fluky one, to be honest. Keepers get a lot of protection today, so I was surprised to see it wasn't a foul, to be honest. In my opinion, it wasn't a foul on Adrian, but you see a lot of those get given in this day and age. But, a bit of a fluky goal, a bit of brilliance from Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield, little flick over the top. I mean, there's not really much we can do about that, to be honest. Lucky rebound, fell straight to Alvarez. It's one of them ones. But Adrian, very, very impressive today. He's just that important squad player. He's clearly a very popular character within the dressing room. And when he can come in and put performance in like that, the lasting memory is the Atletico game, and matches like today, will help his Liverpool legacy, I think, because we've got that Super Cup win as well, the famous Adrian. I'm not going to do it, the Rocky quote from Clarke.
Thought you were there. Thought you were.
And today, another great performance from him. We've got some silverware thanks to Adrian, and a brilliant performance from him.
Yeah, I've got a comment in here. Adrian's medal haul would have blown his mind 3 years ago. Yeah, I think 3 years ago, kind of this precise time, he would have been in Spain sunning himself, not knowing what he was going to be doing the following season. And then he came in and performed, as you say, heroics in the Super Cup final. And then he's been part of this Liverpool side ever since. Well, that wraps us up for this edition of the Debrief. As I say, thanks to everyone who's joined us, whether you've been watching, whether you've been getting involved in the chat box as well. It's been great to go through the game with you guys. As I say, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. But from myself, Guy Clarke and Pat Smith, that's all we've time for here on the Debrief. We'll catch you next time.